Triple Towers of Power, the mighty 790 News Radio, KFGO.
The mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO. Good afternoon. Welcome back to The Drive. I'm Dan Michaels. Paulie Lights is producing. Paul Juergens of the KFGO News Center. More news at the bottom of the hour, 4:30, about 20 minutes away from right now. Well, police, law enforcement in general in the United States, probably around the world, have taken quite a beating, I think, in figuratively, in press and etc. As things have unfolded, unfortunate circumstances. There's been mass retirings in law enforcement circles around the country, and it must be really tough to recruit police officers right now. You know, Joe Friday said it a long time ago, and even though it was a fictional character on TV, but it's an endless, glamourless, thankless job that's got to be done. We have to have a police force, and that's just the way it is. We've had some terrible situation happen in Fargo alone. Can you imagine defunding the police after what's happened in Fargo with a couple of the shootings that we've had, etc.? There have been 3 kids killed in Minneapolis the last couple of weeks. Does that mean we should have less police officers? Police officers, as our next guest says, are all heroes. Who else do you know puts on a bulletproof vest with their name, blood type on it before they go to work every day? Mark Russin is a former police officer with the Las Vegas Police Department. He's an ATF agent and consultant with CSI, no less. And we wanted to talk to him about what it's like to be a police officer today. Would you please welcome to the show Mr. Mark Russin. Mark, am I pronouncing that last name correctly?
You are. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mark, how long were you in law enforcement as a Las Vegas Cup? Let's learn a little bit about you before we get going, Mark. Tell us your background.
Okay. I grew up in Chicago, and I ended up becoming a Las Vegas police officer in 1980. I went to school for it. I graduated from Western Illinois University in 1977 with a bachelor's degree in law enforcement administration. That was my dream, to be a cop, and like you said, the TV shows Dragnet and Adam 12 when I was a kid were kind of cool to me, and I was drawn that way. I was also playing hockey at the time as a kid, and my dream was to play for the Blackhawks when I grew up, but you have to be a great hockey player to get in the NHL, and I didn't quite have the skills I needed. So I went to Plan B, which was being a copper, and I hired on in Las Vegas, and then did 4 years patrol working the Strip there. And then I got the federal job with ATF in 1983, December of 83, when I got my first assignment in San Francisco, and I worked as an agent for 24 years, various cities. I moved 7 times with the government and all over the country, and handled some unbelievable cases with them as well. So that's pretty much it, and I retired in 07. So.
Well, Mark, we love it. Mark has written a couple of books. One of them may be made into a movie. We're going to get to that in a moment. A CSI consultant. We'll get to that in a moment first. But before we get to that, today is the anniversary of the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. And I wanted to talk about policing on his anniversary today. I mean, and I think what we should do, Mark, is get out of the way right away first that there are some bad apples there in any profession. And Caesar's wife must be beyond reproach. Police officers don't have the luxury of perhaps getting their hands slapped if things, stuff happens in public, as opposed to, some other kinds of jobs like that. There have been some mistakes this last year by certain police officers. Would you not agree with that, Mark?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Like you said, there are bad apples in every profession. And nobody hates a dirty cop or a bad cop more than a good cop. Trust me on that. And 99.9% of the police officers that, put that bulletproof vest on every day and put their life on the line for strangers, those guys are heroes, in my opinion. And, when the bell rings, we go running, and we go running to the danger. and that's what it's all about. And the bottom line here is that, you know, what that officer did, he's going to have to answer for it. Obviously, he'll be sentenced here soon. It's one of those things where you wish it wouldn't have happened, but it did, and he's being dealt with the judicial system, and we go on. But that doesn't mean that all police officers are bad. You can't paint them all with the same brush, and that's very unfair that the media and society is doing that, and it's really led to poor morale in the chain of police work, you know, from patrolmen all the way up to, you know, the upper command, and the lack of support and everything that you know that we're going through now. We've got to turn the corner, and we've got to get back to respect, and we've got to get back to where the authority means something. And you know, when you're told to put your hands behind your back, or you're told to you know, kneel down on the ground or whatever, you don't end up fighting. You don't end up because that's when things go bad. And if you look at every shooting situation, you know, they always say, oh, well, it was an unarmed man that was shot. Well, the people don't realize that it takes a split second for an unarmed man to punch out a cop and to grab his gun. And then guess who's armed? The bad guy's armed and the cop is dead. And we don't want that to happen. So once a resist starts, and you know, the person that you're trying to put in handcuffs doesn't want to go, the adrenaline starts pumping, and trust me, there's nothing but bad things going to happen to you at that point. And because the cop's got a job to do, and he can call the cavalry in if he needs it, or she, and you know, you're going to be going down. So just, you know, play the game. Go home safe, you know, go to jail safely, get out of jail, get bailed out, get a lawyer, and fight your case. But don't be stupid, and don't think you're going to take on the police in that, because like I said, nothing's going to happen good when you resist arrest or you don't follow lawful police commands.
You know, that is not following police commands is no excuse for excessive force or someone getting killed that shouldn't have been, etc. However, not following police commands is illegal. And I think we're seeing more. And Mark, I'd like you to answer that. Are we seeing more and more people talking back to the police officers, not obeying them when they are pulled over, et cetera, or is that just me?
Yeah, of course you are. Look at the footage from New York. You got guys dumping pails full of water on cops' heads as they're walking down the street. I mean, the breakdown is with the society right now, and it's given the meal ticket for these you know, rabble rousers or whatever you want to call them, the rioters, to overreact and to act up. And you know, we got to get back in control of society, and that's why you're seeing the murder rate go up in all these different cities that are, you know, generally speaking, Democratic run. But the bottom line is that, you know, the situation, if you're not held accountable, you know, in you don't respect your elders, you don't respect your teachers, you don't respect, you know, your clergy, you don't respect police officers, you don't respect your parents. It's a breakdown of respect. And what good thing's going to happen at 3 o'clock in the morning when a 15-year-old or 20-year-old grabs a gun and goes out on the street, and the police show up because there's shots fired in the area, and they decide to run, and then they still have a gun in their hand after the police have begged them to stop and, you know, get down, you know, stop, get on the ground, drop the gun. They're begging them, and the kid keeps running. And what do you expect is going to happen when an armed guy turns on the police and the officer's already chasing him with his gun in his hand? He's got his gun out because he sees the gun in the kid's hand. So that happened in Chicago. And the bottom line is, if he just would have just given up and dropped the gun, and everything would be fine. If you look at every shooting situation that happens, that's what I'm saying. You look at it in that split second, and you see the breakdown of the communication where the subject says, no, I'm not going to jail, I'm going to fight, and in that, that's when things always go bad. And like I said before, it's a matter of lack of respect that these people are showing the police, and it's just gotten out of control, and we've got to take it back, and we've got to hold the people accountable. And everybody wants to blame the police, lack of training, and this and that. But the bottom line is, let's talk about, the following lawful commands. Let's talk about when a police officer stops you and wants to talk to you, or if they're investigating a crime, or they're on a police call, then you have to do what they're expecting you to do. And for the next 10 minutes, you're under their control. They're the authority figure at the scene, and you have to be beneath that, and you have to understand it. You got to play the game. And unfortunately, some of these hoodlums, they don't want to play the game, and they think they're going to beat the police, and give it your best shot. I don't recommend it, but they do it, and they end up losing. It's not good.
Bad things happen. Mark Russin is joining us today. Mark, we're quickly running out of time. Before we do that, I wanted to talk to you about your books, Metro, Sin City Chronicles, and Justice for Dallas, which I understand might be made into a movie. Is that right?
Well, it's being screenwritten now, by a couple screenwriters in New York, and I've got a director that's interested, too. So, that's my dream, to work a case like I did with ATF and then bring it to a book, which the book is on Amazon now. And so both my books are on Amazon, and then, bring it to the screen, which is kind of like a dream come true for me.
Absolutely.
But the other one is Metro, Sin City Chronicles. That was from growing up in Chicago all the way to being a police officer in Las Vegas for 4 years, and then going on to the federal job, like I said. So that's pretty much the two books that I've written thus far.
Well, fascinating. How did you become a consultant for CSI, and did you see they're bringing it back?
I did see that. I was lucky. I ended up going to at the end of my career, I was the ballistics imaging coordinator for the West Coast, and I took that job out and living in Tucson, where I could end up doing the job for 22 states out west. And I don't know if you remember, but CSI started in like 2000, and they started with they wanted to mirror what we were doing, ATF was doing, and the federal agencies were doing with ballistics imaging. And I happened to be the guy that was, in charge of our program out west. So I met the technical advisor for the show at a conference, and he asked me to come over to the set and talk to them about ballistics imaging, and also plant the seed on several crime scenes that I went on when I was a police officer in Las Vegas. And it just so happened that that was filmed in Vegas as a backdrop. So it kind of went all hand in hand, and I spent the day over there, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I got to meet the writers and sat down with them for about 8 hours, and we just had a wonderful day, and I think they learned a lot, and they worked that program very well, and it was almost realistic by the time we got done with it over there. So I was happy with that.
Do you think Grissom's too old to come back?
He might be. I don't even know. It's been a while. It's been 22 years, 21 years. Yeah. It's been a while.
I saw his promo the other day. It looked really good. A little gray, but I think I'm excited. I love the original CSI. Hey, Mark.
We'll see how it turns out. Yeah.
Mark, I want to stay in touch with you, Mark. Love it if you'd come back and talk to us again sometime, okay?
That'd be great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Mark Russin, former cop, now author, and in one of his books going to be turned into a motion picture. He's headed to the big time. Mark, thanks so very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Take care. Mark Russin with us today. KFGO time is 4:24. You're listening to The Drive with Dan Michaels on the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO.
You're listening to The Drive with Dan Michaels.